Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of Wine from On the Vine to the Road Tasted. My name is Brian, and sitting to my right is Jasmine. Say hello, Jasmine.
Hi guys, how's everyone doing tonight, or this morning, or wherever your location is in the world?
Overwhelming, they're saying we're doing great.
Awesome.
Just great.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, incoming right now from the internet. Everyone is coming in. It's their own day. All right. Episode 30 to Wine from On the Vine to the Road Tasted.
Yay.
Today we're covering a red blend that we picked up the other day, and we had it over at Jasmine's parents' house.
By Camus Winery.
Yeah, by Camus. That's Chuck Wagner, right?
Camus, though, this particular one is made by Chuck Wagner.
Chuck Wagner, Camus Winery.
It's a new one, 1858 red blend, lot 1.
Lot 1, which is the same lot that... which one comes from there? I keep wanting to say bananas, but it's not bananas. It's
Bonanza.
A bonanza. It's not bananas.
We might be bananas, but the wine is not bananas.
It's not bananas, no.
No.
It was really fun reading up on Chuck Wagner. We're not going to go totally into his life or anything like that, because we covered his son,
Joseph Wagner.
Joseph Wagner. He does a Belglass, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Belglass.
Yeah.
Amongst others, but yes, that's one of his in his portfolio of wine brands.
Yeah. So what we had the 1858 red blend, which it's a winery direct over at
Total Wine.
Over at Total Wine. I'm sure they carry it as something else in other places. I'm not sure what it is. I
was trying to see when it came out. It's new, but I don't know when it was. I don't know when it got to retail stores.
Well, yeah. So what I saw was under the Pandemonium for a Charlie. It's
Conundrum.
You're
thinking of Dofo Winery Temecula.
Sorry, it's on the brand. No, that's Pandemonium is a Fazeli's.
Oh, Fazeli's, yes.
Yeah, so Conundrum, under a Conundrum, it says he does make a red blend, but there's no label on that. So I'm thinking that a couple different companies are asking for a direct shipment on that one, and I'm thinking that's where it comes from. So that's what I'm guessing. It has a rating of 4.2, isn't that right, on the Vino?
Yeah, well, that's one.
Yeah.
I think on average it's being rated at 4.2, highly rated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So there'll be different ratings, but that's the one that's picked the most, 4.2.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed this wine. Last night when we had it with your parents, I didn't taste it. I mean,
we had it with my mom and my brother. Yeah. Because my dad didn't drink it.
Yeah,
he was asleep.
He doesn't like the reds either. he prefers the whites.
Yeah.
What he prefers, just because he's got a couple issues, or he tries to stay away from the reds.
Yeah, they don't do well for him. But he likes sweet whites, lighter white wines. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they just, like you said, do better for him.
So
anywho, what are you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This last week, not much went on. We took our friend up to the cabin, and that was a big old fun day. I use the word fun loosely.
You'll see the short video of Brian and I on YouTube and Instagram. But I will post a picture on Instagram for you all to see my friend. I have a picture of me and him up there.
Yeah, he's a Scottish descent from Missouri, and he's all Missouri stubbornness is right in there, just a stinker.
He's a bit of a stinker.
He is. 1972, a 72-year-old stinker. But
I would say he's a Moscow mule, but no, he's a Scottish whatever animal they have comparable.
Yeah, Scottish ass.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that works.
But he won't listen to this. He doesn't know what a podcast is. So
no.
But yeah, we took him up to a cabin off grid, and up there we had the Vouvray, right? We had the
Chenin Blanc Vouvray. We were trying to pick something that. Because it was so warm down here, it was 122 that day, and it was, what temperature was it up there?
It was 80.
So it was warm, but enjoyable still, I guess, or
still felt
bearable. But it was warm.
Yeah.
It was still warm, so we wanted to take something cool, refreshing, and not heavy like a red. And plus, we were thinking about him. He can't drink a whole lot, but he still can have a little bit. So we wanted him. He does love wine. He loves Scotch. He is Scottish, but he's American, but he's Scottish. Yeah, so it was Vouvray Chenin Blanc, Wagner Family. We've had it before. We've done episodes on it.
Yeah.
It's delicious. It's one of our favorites.
It's like we had 2 weeks of 120, so now we're coming out of that. Now our high is like 107. I think it's at 111 in the car today.
Our lows stink.
Yeah, our lows stink.
They're still hot.
A low of 85 to 90 at night.
A low of 105. And a high of 124 degrees now. We're not there yet.
And speaking of temperatures, I got a call from one of my clients up in Canada, and they're like, "Yeah, it's 115."
Canada or Oregon?
No, up in Canada.
Oh.
They're on the West Coast. I don't know all of the areas. It's not British Columbia. It's all the way to the right. So it's on the left is not Saskatchewan. That's the second one over. It's not Ontario. Gosh darn it. So sorry.
What are they near? What's the closest valley?
I don't remember.
So they're not by the Okanagan Valley where they make wines, BC?
No.
Oh, that's the other side you were just saying.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah, I can't remember what side they're on the West Coast.
Somewhere out there in Canada.
But they're up in Canada, and they're like, my gosh, it is so hot up here. It's not Saskatchewan, as I said. It's the second one over.
Global warming. Thank you.
Yeah, global warming. And I think sometimes the Earth has I'm sure it's a mix of two different things. I'm sure our Earth has also, we have a heat up every once in a while. So I remember looking at temperature gauges in the early 1900s and in January showing temperatures of 105. So it's
in January.
I'm sure, yeah. Now the humidity that we're having, I'm sure, is from global warming, and it's also from us having 200 golf courses out here in the Coachella Valley. So I'm sure that it boosts the humidity up. I was reading up on the heat up in Oregon. They're talking about 116 degrees in Oregon, and one of the guys working on the irrigation out in the grape in the grape area. I think it was in the grape area. Said they were moving irrigation in Oregon. My crew moving irrigation. Yeah, he ended up losing his life over the heat.
Yeah, and my mom had just mentioned to us last night that because some of her clients go back there during our hot season, so they go back, they're seasonal. And she was saying that Oregon reached 116.
Yeah, 116.
That's hot for Oregon, and there's so many bodies of water there and so much greenery to keep everything cool. Yeah. And that's where they grow, the majority of Pinot Noir because of the climate. Yeah. So that's not normal. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to read up on the how the grapes will do after this season. Well,
I read somewhere that they're going to pick early. They're going to pick. They're going to have to
because they're going to be scorched if they don't.
So instead of picking September, October, November, they're going to start in August, probably.
Before
some of the grapes.
Yeah. So what were you saying about this? Where was this man at?
He was. It doesn't say exactly where he was at. It just says he was in Oregon.
Oh. Not at a winery or anything. I thought he was. Was he a harvester?
Blueberries. Yeah.
Oh.
And the gentleman was from. I don't know. I was reading through this, and it really disgusted me because of all the things that were in here. Like the company owner didn't know his name, and he was from an area. He was from Guatemala. No, I'm not saying I don't know the company, so I don't know how many employees that they have. They probably have a lot of employees, but
we won't mention names. But it's sad because the person wasn't given any relevance or importance to being recognized. It sounds like.
Yeah.
He was just a worker outside, and
he was from Guatemala.
Yeah.
It says and the timing was just odd. It was so they started searching for him a little afternoon, and then they got a call from the hospital OSHA got a call from the hospital at 3:47. So it's like, how long were they looking for this guy for? I don't understand how you lose a guy. I'm not in the industry. I'm not, I'm an arborist. I'm not in the industry of that, but out here in California, if that ever happened, that company would not exist anymore.
No.
Yeah. So I know in 2022, not 2022, in 2020 also, Oregon's governor was trying really hard to update OSHA regulations for farm workers. So apparently, because for heat-related stress illnesses, I guess 2 people have died in the logging industry already in Oregon in the last 3 years. So they're trying to make things better for them. So it's really unfortunate that happened. I think out here in California, as a contractor, I have to carry 2 gallons of water per guy, and they have to have water near them. You have to have shade within walking distance. Within, I think, it's like within 500 feet. You have to have shade, and then 2 gallons of water per guy have to be available. And I've had it where I've had a gallon and a half, easy, a gallon and a half out in 120-degree weather. Not that unheard of.
Well, it's obviously, I think we're all aware, it's very dangerous to be in excessive heat. We get excessive heat warnings on our weather forecast for the day, and so we all have to make sure that, well, not only are we looking after ourselves, but like you just mentioned, you have to make sure your guys have water. And so anybody around us that is outside working, or if we see someone, we should always be mindful of making sure, just being like a friendly neighbor and making sure that they have water.
It said St. Paul, Oregon is where it happened at. So, yeah, that guy had a family, somewhere. So
yeah.
It's hard to read that stuff. And I was reading another thing that I guess they're releasing a movie about champagne, and it stars a small part. I guess Brad Pitt has a champagne now, and he's in the
Champagne.
after reel.
Oh, it's him and his wife, or Angelina Jolie make the wine together. Yeah.
Okay, and I guess the name of the movie is going to be called Sparkling. It's going to be at the Cannes Film Festival. Is where it's going to be at.
Well, we're going to definitely watch that.
Yeah. I was reading through it, and it was all about the history of champagne, and it had to do about Chateauneuf-du-Pape. Yeah. And
Rhone in the Rhone Valley.
Yeah, and then also has to do with who's the one who started champagne? What's the name of the monk? You always hear.
I know who he is.
Yeah.
My mind's blank. I know that name. So Dom Perignon.
Dom Perignon. It goes into him as well. It's supposed to be really good.
That should have spit out of my mouth.
Yeah, and I think the guy starring in it is Stephen Wolf. He's a huge UK actor, so he's supposed to be in it as well. So it's supposed to be 88 minutes of champagne. Name of the movie Sparkling. It was released, I think, in the 24th in the UK, and being released in the United States by August. So I'll see what. Yeah, but that's my wine news around the world right now. In a year, won't be.
There'll always be something new to talk about.
Oh yeah. So, but back to the 1858. Did you want to talk about the wine notes, or do you want to talk about?
Well, we can finish what you were talking about originally when we were out. My parents, so I think we knew that she was gonna be making brioche turkey burgers. I think we already knew that. So when we had stopped and got the 1858, well, you went in thinking you were gonna get the 1858 Paso.
Yes.
But then you saw the new one, the 1858 Red Blend, lot one, so you got those. Yeah. And those are on average price for $20, but we paid a little bit more.
That's what people are saying on wine.com or vivino.com. They're saying that they got an average price of $19.99. I don't know where they got it at for $19.99.
You can find it for that much, but it just depends. I mean, it's going to jump sometimes from retail to maybe a smaller store or some, maybe a certain place where they're just trying to get it promoted. But yeah, so we got that wine. That's pretty much what you're going to be paying for it on average, is between $19 and $24.99. We knew we were going to have turkey burgers, like I said, but my mom actually made a Chipotle turkey burger with an avocado spread, and she topped the inside with herb salad instead of just a piece of lettuce, like romaine. It's like we made it a little bit more gourmet, and Brian made homemade croutons out of baguette bread, and we seasoned it with olive oil and salt and pepper, and it was accompanied by a salad with some San Marzano cherry tomatoes, herb lettuce, romaine, and cucumber. It was very simple salad, but it had a lot of flavor. Right now the lettuce is very tasting. It has a lot of taste to it, a lot of flavor. And so we had that, and we paired it with that. You looked up that the blend was a grape varietal of 3 mix. So you said predominantly Zinfandel, Cab Syrah, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Petit Syrah.
Yeah.
My mouth was excited to get to the Petit Syrah.
That's the notes that I heard on the name of the website. But that's the only place I could find where the mixes were.
Well, when something's new in a blend that's not, it's not going to have a specific year. It's not going to be a vintage on it or anything. Yeah, it's a blend. So you're not going to most of the time, you're not going to see the grape varietals, or when you go to look it up, they won't state it. So it's really hard to dig in and see, to find that information.
Yeah. But so on the hamburgers, did you bring up the avocado that you put on the bottom?
Yeah, we made the avocado spread. So instead of just putting mustard and mayonnaise, we made an avocado spread, which just really, I think, highlighted the Chipotle. And so the oiliness from the Chipotle mixed in with the turkey burger gave it a little bit of a kind of more like that, like you would have out of a traditional hamburger, get a little bit more heavier, fatty kind of note, but it was lean. Yeah. But you kind of, what I'm talking about, you get that more of like a full mouth-watering hamburger. So it went really well with the 1858 Red Blend, because it was really beautiful when we opened it up right away, like aromatics and everything. I think when we were drinking it last night, we didn't taste acidity because of the hamburger factor. It was a brioche bun. If you're gonna have a hamburger, brioche buns are the way to go. They're the best they make. I don't like to eat bread. Like I would rather have a protein style hamburger, because hamburger buns they're so boring. But a brioche bun is like my favorite, so I'll indulge in that if we're gonna have a hamburger.
You're also a very healthy eater. You really are. So you'll take a bread lightly. If we have 2 hamburgers, you'll have one with bread and one without.
Yeah. We were really splurging, because you made the croutons, and those are awesome. They came out great. We topped that on the salad, and that's what made the salad really have that nice layer to it. And what else?
Oh, so yeah, it was a hamburger, and what was nice is I added ketchup on the first one. On the second hamburger I had, because I'm a pig, I had the second one without any ketchup. And the hamburgers didn't need anything. They didn't need anything else. You didn't need to put anything else on the hamburger. It was so much flavor.
Yeah. And my mom, she got good quality burger or turkey meat. It's very lean, and but I thought she mixed it with chicken, but I don't know. Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't. It mostly predominantly tastes like a turkey burger. So.
Oh, it didn't taste like it. It tasted like it was a. It tasted like it was a high-end gourmet
something you would actually order at a restaurant. It was better than that. I mean, my parents cook so darn good.
They do. And she was like, my husband wasn't here because he was sleeping. My husband isn't here to tell me what I'm doing wrong or right. I was like, your mom's a good cook. She doesn't need
she's an excellent cook.
Yeah, she is. She's just, I think, but your dad is a slightly better cook. And on some things, and I think it just helps her ease her mind.
He does his traditional Spanish dishes or Mexican dishes, and she can cook anything. Yeah. She can cook all over the map in every type of cuisine. Like my dad is good at his authenticity, where he comes from and what makes like his food is like traditional, but it's like a masterpiece. And my mom can do many different things. And so every time we bring wine over to their house, we usually just hit it right on the nail. It's like, it's perfect, like with what they're cooking. We kind of become like teamwork like that. Like they mostly do the main cooking, and we all talk about the wine that we're drinking. We break it down and we talk about where it's from, who makes it, the region, the appellation. They like to discuss it. And my brother Johnny is come a long way from, he didn't like wine. He loves wine now, but I started him off right. You can start off right, you can start off in the very wrong place with wine. Yeah. So he never realized what wine was and where it could take you, and he loved it. So we all love the 1858. She put some cheese on it. So some of the burgers had a straight Munster, and then the other ones had Colby Jack. And then tonight we actually did something a little different. We had some sliced Dutch Gouda, some brie, and then we had water crackers, peppered and regular, and then some. You were describing the other one that made the wine taste different, the more buttery cracker. Because you were saying the pepper. You want to talk about the acidity of the wine?
It was like a wheat cracker, is what it was, or something like that. And it again, it's in the 4-pack from Trader Joe's. And there's a rectangular one, is the one I'm talking about, and it's like a airy wheat cracker. That one right there, paired with the Gouda.
And you were seeing the difference of what the cracker did when you were drinking the wine tonight.
Oh yeah, so one paired wonderfully with it. The Gouda with the rectangular cracker. Again, it's like a wheat cracker or like a whole grain. But it's light. It's not like really a grainy, and it's not.
It has
really
a touch of sweetness to it.
Yeah,
a touch of like
does.
a honeyed. It's almost like a honeyed factor, but just a little bit.
So it paired up wonderfully with the wine, and it kind of accented the wine a little bit more. And then when I took the spicy water cracker and put it with the Gouda, it conflicted with the acids that were inside of the wine. So if you're gonna pair it with a cracker, just make sure it's a little grainy, not too spicy, and make sure the cracker has a little bit of body on it, and not that hard water cracker, whatever it was. Yeah, especially if you're doing it with Gouda.
When you are you done? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, along with that, when you're pairing food and wine, and even if you're not pairing food and wine, when you just think about there's 5 factors to consider when you're tasting wine. So you're gonna have a sweetness level, an acidic level, tannic level. You're going to have the alcohol content and the body of the wine. So those are all the main facts or the different things that you're going to be kind of distinguishing as you taste the wine. And so when you pair different foods with different types of body, different types of alcohol level, density, again, you liken that to drinking like different layers or different kinds of milk. So whole milk, cream, 2%, low fat, or stuff like that. So those are all major factors of wine tasting. What we noticed is with the wine tonight, so we were really trying to, because last night we were eating and just drinking, and it was like we just kind of.
Yeah, we're having a good old time.
Yeah, and we're not really studying it. This is the first time we're drinking it. So tonight we paid more attention. And we noticed the acidity level was higher when we were tasting it tonight. So you really want to swirl the glass. You want to open up the wine. So what that means is when you're swirling it, the wine is surface level is becoming greater. So you're swirling it, oxygen is getting throughout more of the wine. So the oxygen is connecting straight to the tannins and breaking down the tannic level, so the wine becomes softer. And so that's what's happening when you're swirling the glass. So with a big bold wine like that, you're gonna, like this one, the 1858, you're gonna especially want a wider glass. It's more helpful to getting more of its surface area, which again creates more oxygen, meaning those the tannic levels. So you're going to get more of a share of that oxygen contacting the wine, so enabling it to kind of calm down, to make it more supple, and that it's going to be softer on the palate. So that's what we noticed tonight, because we were really, I was tasting it with, I think I was having it with the peppered crackers, like you were saying, and I was getting a lot of graphite, minerality, almost like a bitterness.
Yeah.
So I was smelling the fruit, but when I go to taste it, it was almost like more savory or vegetal. Like I was tasting green bell pepper, lots of spice, but like peppers, like kind of like that. And you were tasting, I think, something different. You're getting cherry notes, but then you were saying it's acidic, and you were saying specifically a cherry wafer.
That was the aroma.
Okay.
I smelled like a cherry wafer, light plum, and yeah, it almost smelled like. I shouldn't say inexpensive, but when you go to a grocery store and you buy like a cake with the fruit filling on the middle, it smelled like that. It smelled like that. So, but I think the closest thing I'd find would be like a vanilla wafer, but the wafers are cherry flavor, and there's like a vanilla on the inside of the wafer.
That makes sense.
And so that's what I was smelling in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of vanilla from the oak, the American oak.
Yeah. So, but what we did do is we brought the temperatures down on this wine to about 50 degrees. Then we poured it in the glass, let the glass sit for about 20 minutes, and then we started to smell and taste, because all you had at first was just the acids were just coming up. Hard to get any good smells out of there.
Yeah, so we chilled it for a while. You could chill it at a 59 degree Fahrenheit, which converts to 15 degrees Celsius. So wherever you are, European or American side, that's what you would do. Sometimes red wines need a chill.
Yeah.
They need a chill because sometimes they're too warm. So it's not like a hard fast rule. You can't chill red wine. So we've talked about that on other a couple episodes about, I think a year ago when we first started the podcast. We had a couple of segments where we were talking about temperature and chilling red wines and white wines and 20 minutes, the 20-minute rule. White wines are in the fridge or at the temp. You bring them out, you let them kind of come up to like a room temperature, but like 20 minutes. Same with red wine, you do the opposite. You put it in the fridge for about 20 minutes minimum, and you bring it out, and then you serve it.
Yeah.
So in a party or a get together, you could definitely do that. It helps. It helps because you're gonna give the personality a fair chance to come to you, to describe itself to you on your palate. Also, too, remember that this is predominantly a Zinfandel. So in a Zinfandel, you're going to get a lot of pepper notes. You're going to get, that's traditional, white pepper, black pepper. You're going to get those fruity aromas, but you're going to have a lot of the spice notes. It's very traditional for a Zin. And then Cab and Petit Syrah come after that. So it makes sense when you think about it. So I think we should talk a little bit more about the Wagner family. We have some history on them, right?
Yeah. Let me go into the taste real quick that I got off of it. So when I was tasting 1858, it did taste, to me, warm spice, a little bit of black licorice, and then there was that granite, like a minerality that I felt with that. I think Jasmine and I have similar palates, but I think we taste things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
She's more advanced in type of foods that she's had. I haven't had nearly as much as
Well, you have in the last few years.
Yeah. But I'm not as and I don't have a taster like she's got. She's got a good little taster there. But and also what I noticed on this is when we poured it into the glass, the oils will separate just a little bit, and it creates a ring around the edge, and the wine brings down the weight, and then it pushes out the oils on the outside, so you'll see like this almost like a millimeter to a 2 millimeter height around the edge of the glass where your oil sits.
That's after we swirled it too, because we were swirling it, and then all of a sudden you saw this clear layer of oil across the surface of the wine.
It was neat.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. It was very present on the surface, that oiliness.
And now we can go into the family, the Wagner family.
Okay.
If you would like.
Yes, I would like.
Oh, and also, sorry, I'm gonna go back. This is a structured wine. So what that means is that this is something where you can age it. You can age it for another 4 or 5 years, and it would the taste and
It has age potential.
yeah, everything would age wonderfully. Yeah, so it is considered a structured wine. Just
So
so
what
you
that
guys
means
know.
is you could drink it now, or you can save it and sit
Yeah,
on it.
Save it and sit on it. Yeah. All right. Now we can talk about the Wagner family.
Well,
Are you sure?
we are. Are you sure we can move on?
Sure. You're confusing me here. So this is named 1858, and what that stands for is that down the Wagner line, there was I think their last name was Stice, Stice.
Maternal side.
Yeah, on the maternal side. So this is on Lorna.
Chuck's mother.
Yes.
Chuck's mother. Chuck Wagner's the winemaker we're talking about, and his mother's side.
Yeah, on his mother's side, Bluford and Martha Stice, they bought their first plot of land in Napa in 1858. So that's what that stands for, the 1858 Red Blend.
And they settled in the small town of Rutherford, which is where Wagner's are still located.
Yeah.
No, that's not the only place, but that's where they started.
Yeah, that's where
their
they
main
started
place. Yeah, main
And then
location.
I think the Wagners bought in 1901 or 1906, somewhere in there. The actual Wagner, the ones with the last name of Wagner, they showed up in Napa in about 1906, somewhere around there, in the Napa Valley area. Is what they did. And I don't have a lot of notes on it, so.
Well, I was also going to add that the family originally came to the area during the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what brought their family or their relatives or descendants down this way.
Mm-hmm.
So if it wasn't for that, they wouldn't have come this way. But they that's where their history stems from. And another interesting factor of with the grandfather in 1858 in Rutherford is that he built a winery to produce bulk wines. So he was producing bulk wines originally. And as soon as as World War One raged on, the family was just booming because the Wagner family was producing an upward of 30,000 gallons per year. And then Prohibition came, and they were one of the wineries as well as, there's tons of people in that business that got hit. So Prohibition shut everything down, of course. But the Wagners, they didn't totally, they didn't die off. They held on. And so they were able to start planting grapes again in their own home ranch, in their ranch. And I think that's what you were talking about that year. That's when they started. 1900, right? They started before 1972, before Chuck, the son, came into play. But that was the time period before. That was after Prohibition.
Yeah, it was 1930.
Yes.
1934. They started replanting their grapes.
Yeah.
So that's when the Prohibition ended. Was in 1933.
And then 1972, Chuck Wagner was 19, and then that's when he came into the scene and was working side by side with his father, Charlie, and learning everything there was to know about the business, like every department, everything about the wine business industry.
And that's when they started to rip out all their fruit trees and other fruits that they had in there. They're like, okay, this isn't doing as well as what
they were seeing. What
anymore.
Was getting ahead and what was going to make it, and what was the key factor that was going to get them through, because that was either going to break them at that point or not. So they had to make a decision of what their history is. That at that point they had to decide what was going to make their decision to stay and to keep in the wine industry. There's more on it, but that I've read in the past, but yeah, so that was, that was pertinent to their success and their stay in the Napa Valley. Do you have anything else you want to say? I didn't mean to cut you out.
No, that's good. No, I thought it was neat that the grandfather or the father, depending on who you're looking at, the father decided to go along with what his son was doing, because it's hard for an older gentleman to take on like a person, like, oh, this guy's doing well, so I'm sure it's very hard for his dad to start ripping out all the fruit trees. So, but to go, I mean, it was good because it went along with, it made him what they are today. So
right,
him succumbing to that, or him letting his son take the lead on that, it really helped.
Yeah, and they were all like, they were a family who understood that the key to making it happen and to continue to make it happen was that they all had to work together. Like, they all had the passion to work hard, and to let each one bring in their own uniqueness, but to really stay strong at their roots and who they were. So, like, one of the traditions they had is Lorna, the mother, would make sure that they had lunch together every single day. Yeah. And so Chuck continued that with his own children later on, because 2 out of his 4 children became winemakers like him. So he was really happy about that. And that, what parent wouldn't? I mean, you have like all this family history and all this endurance and effort and sweat and tears and everything that goes into making something from the ground up what it is. It's their family's history is in that soil, I mean, you could say. Yeah. So in the Rutherford area of Napa, they have other areas now, which we'll talk about later, where their other portfolio wines and their grapes come from. But the son, Charlie, which is named after Chuck's dad, and then Jenny, the daughter, work with Chuck. So they brought in the portfolio of wines that added to their father's wine collection. So their portfolio of wines together include Merceau, Chardonnay, and Pinot Noir, Emolo, Sauvignon Blanc, and Merlot, Red Schooner, Malbec, which is very popular. Yeah, I have people asking me about that all the time. And 5 conundrums: white, red, rosé, sparkling, blanc de blanc, and sparkling rosé. So each Wagner has their own unique point of view, like I was bringing up earlier, but they share that hard work and passion. It shows, that they all connect. So they're able to extend and to grow like a tree, or like a vine, like a grapevine. You start with one little root, and then it turns into all these different shoots and stems. That's what their family is like. Yeah. They have the base, and then it's turned into this whole canopy. So that's the heart of the Wagner's family success, is their hard work and passion, and they just form this beautiful artwork together. So they constantly push themselves to break through the boundaries, which makes them so successful. And they're, I would say, in the wine world, they're popular. Like, people trust them, but they also love them. They have a following. Oh yeah. So, I mean, with good reason. So each Wagner has contribution to that. So it's never boring. You're always going to get more out of their wines. So that's what I got out of it. It's, they're fun. They're fun wines. They're not boring. Their personalities, grab you. So.
What was neat too is when it came to Charlie Wagner, the grandfather of the other Charlie, or the father of Chuck. What he would do at this lunch you were talking about is he would take all of his leftover wines from the previous day, and he would kind of mix them up all into one glass. Doesn't matter what type of grape it was, or
you said the grandfather Charlie.
Yeah. And so that's how they came up with a conundrum. Wines.
Red blend.
Yeah.
And or the all that.
Yeah. And the white.
They have white, rosé, sparkling. So
And so that's how they came up with that, was from their father or their grandfather doing that. So that was a neat little story.
Yeah.
He would do it almost every day. He would try to mix it and come up with something new.
It was his own unique way of formulating something new out of something they already had.
Yeah. Because the traditional way is single varietal. That's a tradition.
Yeah.
And so to break that a tradition sometimes, or to break that a barrier, it sometimes is difficult. It really is, but I'm glad
red
it's going
blends
that way.
or I shouldn't just say red blends, but blends are like amazing. Like blends can be very stunning. It's a craft all on its own in the wine industry. You can grow a Cabernet or a straight Merlot or what single varietal like you're saying. It takes a lot of hard work and you have to know what you're doing. But to make a blend that says something about the winemaker you are. It takes percentages of just a little bit of this and mostly that and a speck of this, So you're creating something you truly unique who expresses who you or your family are, your region, where you come from, what wine means to you, etc.
Yeah. So it takes a special mind to do that.
Yeah, blends are my favorite.
Oh yeah.
I think they're not a varietal. Blends are not a varietal. They're a blend of grape varietals. So some people get confused with that, but it's a masterpiece all on its own. So I really appreciate them.
Yeah. And
I was going to bring out too, just really quick. They extended Jenny Wagner extended an area where she's has a combination of Solano County and Napa Valley grapes to make the Sauvignon Blanc, so under her and Charlie. And that's a fantastic Sauvignon Blanc if you want something really nice for the summer, something light, like we were talking in the beginning of the podcast about Chenin Blanc. So on this side of the world, if you wanted to have something on that kind of note, you could do that. And it's also 1858. It's called her Sauvignon Blanc. So it's the percentage is there's some percentage of it from Solano County and then some from Napa. And Solano County is considered the undiscovered country. It's in the Suisun appellation that became an AVA in 1982. So it's actually less than a year after Napa became an AVA. So not far after. And the climate of Solano is cool, moist. The air blows in from the ocean, creating a diverse soil, much like Napa. Napa is like a quilt of like when you think about the soil, it's so diverse. It's like a quilt. Solano is similar. So that's why they utilize it. They also have a strategic water source. They have a 1.6 million acre feet of water from Lake Berryessa. That's their main water source. So that's the largest, and that contributes to the Solano County. So the Wagners tapped into that area, and they also produce some great grapes out of that particular one. I love Sauvignon Blanc, so I was pretty impressed with that. Yeah. It's very much like a Bordeaux, like a white Bordeaux. Like you would get Sauvignon Blanc with the little Semillon. Jenny's has Sauvignon Blanc with Semillon. So it's a blend of the two that make her. Because
of this heat wave, it's the summer of whites and rosés, guys.
Try the 1858s and the conundrums, and because they have the rosé too, and get a little bit taste of the different things that they make by the Wagner family. Yeah.
And if you don't, again, 1858 is I think it's only over a turtle wine.
So it's a second label to what their major labels.
A conundrum, I think, is where it comes from. So if you're anywhere else other than that place, look for the conundrum. You can find
it. You can order it online through Vivino, and there's other places. But if you're going to a retail store, you might be able to find it at bigger retail stores. But I don't want to say because I'm not sure. We just know for sure it's at Total Wine.
Yeah.
So
it's good wine.
So enjoy.
Wagner's. All right. See you guys in either 1 or 2 weeks.
Well, it's it's hot out here and we're baking and frying, so it's hard to keep our minds in gear, but we will try our hardest to.
So we do have a YouTube channel. We do have a TikTok channel, and we do have Tumblr, which don't worry about that one. That one sucks.
Well, we haven't done much with it.
No. But yeah, if you guys want to see any of our YouTube videos, it's a Wine Vine Road Tasted, and the same thing for our TikTok is Wine Road Tasted. But everything's on YouTube. And then again, we have our website, jasmineandbryan.com. And we are on Podbean, we're on Spotify, we're on
Alexa,
Apple Podcasts, and we're on Alexa, and we're on Google Podcasts, so we're everywhere. So we're trying to be everywhere.
Yeah, you can access through many different areas.
Please listen and please watch, and
we really appreciate it.
we spend like $150 on our podcasts every month.
Yeah.
I'd like to make at least that much back.
Yeah, we really appreciate your support, guys. And we hope that you learned something and you have fun. And like I said, if you ever have any suggestions, give us some suggestions on our website or send us a message through somewhere that you listen to one of our videos or whatever you're comfortable with. So we appreciate it.
Yeah. Wine from on the Vine to the Road Tasted, episode 30, 1858. It's yummy.
Until next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.